That looks different from the ones we've seen recently. It wasn't in the sight of tourists or in front of a government building. It was held in a minority neighborhood. Activists with New Era Las Vegas say it's time to turn the rallies and protests into action and service within black communities. They say their Hood to Hood event is part of the fight against police brutality.
I wanted to make sure that ours was just as impactful, and so we reached out to some heavy hitters in the community because we have to start showing unity. All of us are doing things in our own respective ways, but why not have one time we can do it together? And that's what it's about, and that's what we're doing. Oh my God.
Organizers plan to host a similar event every Saturday.
It never took place if there was black and brown and poor and oppressed people gathering at that Capitol. If we were black first and foremost, we would have been shot off the steps.
President of New Era Las Vegas and prominent social justice activist Minister Stretch Sanders remembers the demonstrations throughout Las Vegas following the death of George Floyd.
People of color get tear gassed, we get arrested, we get told that we're lying, we're thugs. Years ago, I was completely against voting in any election, let alone a presidential election.
Minister Stretch Sanders is the founding president of New Era Las Vegas, an organization that works to help disenfranchised communities, including ex-felons.
They just feel discouraged. Even though most of them know they can vote, they don't feel like they are worthy to vote. So we're encouraging them, saying, hey, this is your right. I don't believe it's your voice. Your voice is your voice. But this is a tool that you can use to knock down some things for your family, your community, and yourself. Pick up that tool, brother and sister.
Also today, the I Love Being Black community cookout took place. This is at Kianga Isoke Palacio Park. Now, people came together for a fun day of food, music, dancing, and games. Organizers say this was an overall celebration of the African American community in the Valley.
We live in a climate where racism is so high, the police terror is so high, and we're losing our self-respect. We're becoming inferior. We're scared to be black. We're scared to say Black Lives Matter. This is to combat that. So this is not a protest, but then again, it is a protest because we're protesting the inferiority of blackness. We're protesting that self-hatred that's in our community, and we're rising up with love.
Organizers also
this summer, in the wake of a renewed push for racial justice, we told you about this group, New Era Las Vegas. It's an African-American empowerment organization whose mission is to patrol and keep black communities safe. Today, we checked in on them to see how things were going. They told us they've been able to work with local businesses, such as supermarkets that were selling expired meat, to clean up the store. They're also targeting bus stops and keeping people from doing drugs there. Minister Stretch Sanders, who leads the group, says it all starts at home.
It's cool to say Black Lives Matter and to basically plead to the government and the city about what they're doing to us. But at some point, we have to bring that energy back home. We have to address not saying black on black crime, because black on black crime does not exist. But the reality is there is crime in black communities. So as much as we like to protest and rally, we have to bring that energy to our own communities.
Today is a day to honor a great man that did great things for our country, and many of us have the day off, not us of course, but some people do have the day off and they might be looking for something to do today. I spoke to the president of a local advocacy group about how we should honor him, and he says that it's not just celebrations and parades, it's good to honor him by giving back to your community with service. Now, New Era Las Vegas is that advocacy group, and they advocate for the rights of black and brown people. And today they'll be hosting MLK in the Hood. They'll be giving out groceries, clothes, shoes, and essential items for people who need it most. I talked to Minister Stretch Sanders, who is the president, and he says now more than ever, it's important to meet people where they are and help them how you can.
As much as giving, much is required. So if you are blessed financially, you have an obligation to make sure those who have nothing have something. And then if you have, those who don't have much to give, financially or physically, well, maybe you can give your time.
Now, if you would like to meeting at Mario's West Side Market, New Era Las Vegas came here to Kianga Isoke Palacio Park, formerly Doolittle Park. They started handing out whistles and told people they gave them to, if you're in trouble, blow on it and someone will come to your aid. With fists high in the air, New Era Las Vegas, an African-American empowerment organization, held its first community patrol in North Las Vegas.
The purpose of this program is to arm our people with protection. We can't trust the police to do it. We tried that. It does not work. And we want to be able to combat the police terrorism, but also combat the violence in our own black communities.
Just community patrol. We out in the community right now. Anything that go down while we around, we here to patrol it. You know what I mean? We can protect and govern our own neighborhood as long as we around it.
Members started at the corner of Martin Luther King Boulevard and Lake Mead and made their way to Kianga Isoke Palacio Park, handing out whistles to younger community members, telling them if they need help to blow on the whistle and someone will come to their aid.
We're also tired of the violence and the destruction in our own black communities, and so we're stepping up to combat all of that, to make sure the police, white supremacist groups, or anybody in our own communities not going to bring down our communities anymore.
New Era Las Vegas President Minister Stretch Sanders says people in this neighborhood no longer have faith in police, and New Era Las Vegas is beginning the work to provide security to those who feel like they don't have any.
Some of us.
Minister Stretch Sanders is here with a group of other people who are a part of New Era Las Vegas, his organization. They're chanting, dancing, and also talking to women and children. They say it's up to them to patrol their neighborhoods and take back their communities.
We complain about the crime, we complain about the violence, but who's going to actually combat it?
Minister Stretch Sanders, an activist and the founder of New Era Las Vegas, has organized a weekly community patrol. On Tuesday night, it kicked off. He and several other community members gathered near MLK and Lake Mead Boulevard.
We're excited. This is awesome. You know, how y'all feel? How y'all feel? All power to the people. And so this is beautiful right here.
They walked around the surrounding area, stopping by a local park where they talked with people about standing up for women, senior citizens, and youth in the community.
And if you black and look like us, you're a woman or a man, and you tired of the sex trafficking, you tired of the kidnapping, you tired of the drugs and the whatever, let's get here and do something about it.
Minister Sanders says his goal is to also help put an end to police harassment and brutality by recording and intervening when necessary.
We talk about, oh man, I'm tired of the police harassing us. Okay, well, let's go out there and cop watch. Let's make sure that traffic stop goes well.
As the group patrolled, they passed out whistles to women and children.
You blow that whistle, we hear that whistle, we coming to your aid, for real.
It's inspirational, you know, to see that our people do care about our people. If we don't get out here and we don't do it, nobody's going to do it for us.
And Minister Stretch Sanders says this is something that they plan on doing every Tuesday, and eventually they want to add more days. They are asking for more people.
Pointed to the letter A grade from the health department. The market is called Fresh and Less, but Minister Stretch Sanders of New Era Las Vegas says the food is anything but fresh.
We start seeing multiple meat with new tags on old tags and 2-year-old rice, expired noodles, etc.
Sanders says weeks later, customers are still seeing bad food.
As of November 15th, 16th, around that time, we got word that the store had actually got worse. We went in, we saw multiple meat. It was the same story.
Fresh and Less store manager Ricky Carter says that's not true.
We have Class A, Grade A, from a health inspector for the kitchens, for the bakery, for the produce, for the deli, for the meat department.
Carter says every case of apples has 1 or 2 bad ones, and frozen meat tends to get darker, but that doesn't mean it's bad.
You grab a brand new box of apple, you just get it, and then you open it. You'll see a bad apple in a case. Isn't it guarantee 100%?
Customers say things have gotten better.
In the beginning, it might have been a little rocky for them, but they've come a long way. They've made a lot of improvements.
Employees say come look for yourself.
You can walk around, you can check all the meat and everything, the freezer, the butcher place over here. You can check all the vegetables. Everything is up to par.
Sanders isn't convinced and now wants to buy the grocery store with the community's help.
We've already had people call us from all over the city who want to pool together their resources to be investors.
The store is not for sale. I would not sell it to them or anybody, even if they give me $2 million. It's not for sale.
Sanders says with enough money, anything is for sale. He says he's meeting with investors later this month. In
Las Vegas, they say their goal is to protect women, children, and the elderly and to help put an end to police brutality in black communities.
Gabby Hart spoke with the organizer, and she joins us in studio with his message.
Local Minister Stretch Sanders, the founder of New Era Las Vegas, says it's time for people to start stepping up and better protecting their neighborhoods. He says this isn't just about combating police brutality, but also fighting sex trafficking and any violent crime that's taking place.
Some of us will be armed, with whistles as well as pistols.
Minister Stretch Sanders is calling on men and women in the Valley to come together and help take back their neighborhoods.
We're not going to let nobody get killed by the police no more. We're not going to let nobody get killed by the hands of us anymore.
When it comes to this initiative, Minister Sanders says there's a couple of things that he wants the public to know.
Number one, no racist white person or no racist person who is not black is not going to come in any black community and terrorize. But also, our own black brother and sister is going to do right as well. And so we come in to break up any potential violence or threat and just to have a presence.
On Tuesday night, Sanders and others plan to gather at Mario's West Side Market on Martin Luther King Boulevard, and they plan to patrol that area, walking around parks and locations where there's a high possibility for criminal activity.
I know so many seniors who are afraid to go to the store at night. It shouldn't be like that. We shouldn't be afraid to go in our own communities.
The group plans to hand out whistles to women, children, and senior citizens.
If they under attack, blow this and hopefully they get back. And if we hear that as a community, we're going to intervene.
Minister Sanders says with the current climate in the U.S. right now, it's time for black people to take a stand and to be the change that they want to see.
We out here to make it known that we're not going to be afraid of each other or nobody else. And by doing that, that creates a climate of love.
Who live in this neighborhood say they cannot get to the store by themselves. So a Las Vegas minister is bringing the store to them.
It's been very hard for me personally. I've been laid off.
Everybody needs something at some point in time, even the toiletries.
Just a hard time getting stuff. Stuff's not on the shelves and stuff, so we have a little bit, but not much, though.
Enter Minister Stretch Sanders with New Era Las Vegas.
We are the first responders of the hood, so we don't sit down.
When grocery stores started selling out of toilet paper and hand sanitizer, Minister Stretch began handing out those very items to people who can't get it themselves.
Our seniors, single mothers, those who don't have transportation, and there are those who may be able to get in a vehicle to go to the store, but economically they can afford to spend $100 on groceries.
Minister Stretch and his wife Kendall are using community donations to pay for the goods they hand out. But getting those goods has been just as hard for them as it has for everyone else.
It's a pretty rigorous process. You have to get up super early in the morning if you want to be able to get stores that are freshly stocked. So we have been up since 6 a.m.
Sometimes going to several stores to get everything the community needs, including toilet paper and food.
Peanut butter and jelly, soup, things like that. Just some things stick to the ribs, hold you down for a few days.
We came by the other day. He brought us a box of canned goods and other toiletries and stuff. And what he's doing is very great for this community.
I appreciate it. I wasn't able to get any tissue, but I did today. It means the world to me. I think it was a humbling gesture for him and his wife to come out into the community and do the things that they did. They didn't have to do it. God put it upon their heart.
Minister Stretch told me that storing some of the items that he's bringing out to the communities is starting to become a challenge. So he's looking for a church or a community center that will help him store some of those goods.
We'll only see here. A few weeks ago, we told you about the New Era Las Vegas. They're a community patrol that began out near Owens and H Street, the historic West Las Vegas area. Well, residents alerted this group about a store that appeared to be selling bad meat.
Yeah, when the neighborhood patrol first set foot in this store, they say they found expired meat with the wrong tags. They say there was also this freezer that was stocked with meat that appeared to be freezer burnt. They say after working with the owner, there were some changes made, but they say there's more that can still be done.
Look at this. This is freezer burn, but they still gonna sell it.
Freezer burn. Members of New Era Las Vegas recorded this Facebook Live video about 2 weeks ago inside of Fresh and Less on Owens Avenue. It's gained thousands of views.
This is unacceptable.
For the past 6 weeks, Minister Stretch Sanders, leader of the group, has spent every Tuesday night patrolling communities with high crime and working to clean them up.
As we were out passing out whistles and securing our neighborhoods, we were told by some elderly ladies to check on the Fresh and Less. Let's go in.
And when they walked inside of this neighborhood grocery store,
we noticed there was a real bad odor that led us to the meat, and there was just piles and levels and sections of expired old meat. And this old produce, bananas that was black as meat.
Minister Sanders threatened to boycott the store the very next week if changes weren't made.
We will shut this store down.
The health district says they inspected the store after receiving several complaints. In a report, the inspector noted that on arrival, the staff was rearranging produce and that the owner said he'd spent the day removing any bad or expired meat. The store owner tells News 3 he worked with New Era Las Vegas to make changes and that he'll continue to do so.
Most of this meat was gray. As you can see now, it's red. It looks like normal meat.
It's always good to learn. No one is perfect. I have blind spot. They show it to me. I take over it to make sure that everybody going in the right directions.
We end up having a sit down, and basically the end result of that was to bring us in as community liaisons. And since then, the store has cleaned up the produce, the meat, they've thrown out the old meat. There's a few things that we still want to see done, which is like it needs to have a better smell.
Yeah, Minister Stretch Sanders says this is one part of being out in the community and protecting residents, making sure that businesses are held accountable. And he says they'll continue to do so every Tuesday. For News 3, I'm Gabby Hart reporting.
Of New Era Las Vegas. That's a group meant to empower and encourage black people. Minister Stretch Sanders says he was not expecting the verdict to come back guilty, but he welcomed it.
First of all, I was really shocked in so many ways because, again, for so long historically, it seems like white men have been allowed and have been given passes to lynch black people, specifically black men, and get away with it. So I feel like myself and so many others have a right to be surprised due to America's, I would say, credit score.
He says it's finally time for officers to be held accountable when they use excessive force, and says America cannot handle more injustice.